What's going on, Geminites? It's your boy Gem Mint. I'm here with my new comic book day reviews for Wednesday, August 14th, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so if you've been following the channel, you know that Manimal used to do the weekly polls. He had an extensive poll list and probably had 30 books every week. I'm just getting started with the polls. I only got 4 books today because some titles that I'm reading from DC didn't have an issue today that I'm reading, so trying to find a lot of jumping on points. My plan for the new comic book day reviews is to do a non-spoiler review, just my initial thoughts of the issues, and then we'll do individual issue breakdowns on some of the big ones like Powers of 10 and House of X and things like that. First up, we have Absolute Carnage Scream. This is issue 1 out of a 3-part miniseries. This is written by Colin Bunn, which is fitting because he did the Web of Venom Funeral Pyre, and he finished off Rick Remender's Agent Venom run. So it's kind of cool to see him working with Donny Cates on this Absolute Carnage series. Scream 1's a cool issue because the last time we've seen Donna Diego or Scream, she was killed by Eddie Brock Venom, and we haven't seen her since. So Scream's back, and she's as bad as ever, and there's really not much to talk about besides that. Scream is under the hive mind possession of Null and the symbiotes, Carnage, etc. So it looks like she's going to be playing a bad guy, and she does have a new human host. So that's kind of a twist for the Scream symbiote. Next up, we have another Absolute Carnage tie-in. This is a Separation Anxiety one-shot, and it definitely was a one-shot. Now, what's interesting about the Life Foundation symbiotes, we just talked about Scream, then you had Lasher, Agony, Phage, all those guys. The last time we've seen them, they were clumped together and made into Toxin. So now the Toxin symbiote, last time we've seen it, was on a stray dog, had something to do with a Deadpool issue or whatever. Basically, the dog runs up on some random family where the family is going through a divorce and the children are upset and the little girl confides in the dog, and you basically get a horror movie plot line throughout the rest of this issue where the symbiote is infecting each individual members of the household. Essentially, they're splitting up the Life Foundation symbiotes back into individual entities in this family who is now traveling to New York. So I'm sure we'll see more of the Life Foundation symbiotes in Absolute Carnage. Next up, we have Silver Surfer Black. This is issue number 3. I am enjoying this run, even though I'm not really a fan of the artwork. I do like Donny Cates, and I hear a lot of people putting his name out, and now, is he overrated, da-da-da-da. Bottom line is, I enjoy Donny Cates' writing, and I don't enjoy this art style. It reminds me of Jason Allred, and it's kind of very trippy and colorful for a storyline called Silver Surfer Black, where he's in space, and it's a little 60s tripped out. It pays homage to Stan Lee, as does the writing. But last time we saw Silver Surfer, he was being rescued by what we thought was Galactus, but really was Ego, the Living Planet. And basically you get in this story kind of like that old storyline of pulling the thorn out of the lion's foot, and then the lion helps the little kid. So that's kind of what we're doing with Ego here. Ego has something inside of him that's killing him. Silver Surfer needs help in fighting Null, the symbiote god. So he basically says, hey, if I figure out what's going on in your core, will you help me out? And that's where we get that storyline. Interesting revelation as to what is causing the problem in the core of Ego. If you want to find out, you're going to have to read it. But I'm sticking with Silver Surfer Black. It is still an interesting read, and I'm getting used to the artwork. And last up, the big boy, Powers of 10 issue 2. Powers of 10 issue 2 directly follows up House of X issue 2, where we left off with the Uncanny Life of Moira X. So I was very happy to see that. And a lot of what I thought Hickman was going to do is happening in this issue. Like, we'll talk about it more in the issue breakdown, but happy to see that I was right on some things. And then we get into the Powers of 10, and we jump to 10 years in the future, 100 years in the future, 1,000 years in the future. We get more Nimrod stuff. We do see Rasputin 4 again, but she doesn't really do much. We get more information as to what's going on with that Sentinel head floating in outer space. I'm not sure if it was mentioned what it was in the previous issue, so I'm not going to mention it here, but we'll talk about it in our single issue breakdown for Powers of 10 issue 2. Powers is a little time jumpy, man. It's a little harder to grasp than House of X in my opinion, but still an enjoyable read, and definitely check out my spoiler breakdown on that. Alright guys, so this was like my very first new comic book day reviews. I wanted to get into singles for a while now. I am catching up on some current runs in trade paperback, like Immortal Hulk, Guardians of the Galaxy by Donny Cates. And I got to start getting caught up with Spider-Man, because I'm a Spider-Man guy, and I know that's something that we haven't really had in these new comic book day reviews, so I need to get caught up on that. On the DC front, it's hard to jump on, man, because I'm not going to jump on to Batman 76, you know what I mean? But I'm reading Deceased. Quick thoughts on that. It's like Blackest Night without the power rings. It's a throwaway zombie story, which is fun, but it doesn't feel like it has any real stakes. Last Night on Earth, the first 2 issues are out, which are like little graphic novels, little trades. And the third and final volume has yet to be solicited, but I really liked where it started with Bruce being in Arkham Asylum and that whole thing. And then it kind of went Grant Morrison-ish on me and like got kind of crazy. So I got a little lost on that. Curse of the White Knight. I mean, we're only 1 issue in on that. I'm not loving it. I don't think it feels better than the White Knight run, but I'm going to stick with it, and I'll look for more DC jumping on points so that we can get a more full new comic book day review. Always looking for good independent stuff as well, like read Coffin Bound, reading Spawn, and a couple of other indies. As always, guys, drop down some recommendations in the comments below. Good jumping on points. I don't want to jump into the middle of a series, but bear with me. After a while, this segment will be full. I'm sure that we're going to end up with a pretty nice pull list, so stay tuned. Hit the like on the way out. Make sure to subscribe to the channel because we're dropping daily content. And stay minty fresh. Peace.